All right, y'all saw the title. Y'all saw the thumbnail. You see what's on your screen right now. You know what we're here to do. We're here to rank every MCU movie as of the last one, which is Far From Home. So, for the record, I actually rewatched all of these. I binged all of these movies basically a few months ago, I think. Maybe like half a year ago at this point. But, it's not like I'm going off like straight memory from like 10 plus years ago. I have some groundwork laid out so that I kind of know what I'm talking about because I rewatched them recently. So just for the record, I'm not bullshitting. All right, so let's just go off the top with Iron Man 1. This is a hard one to place, I think, cuz I think it definitely aged well, better than some other movies. And also some movies aren't as bad as people say, but we're going to get into that also. But I think Iron Man 1 actually aged not bad. I think it's actually still a very enjoyable movie. I would put it as an A. I think it's still a very, very enjoyable movie. I think it aged really well. Maybe one of the ones that aged better compared to some others. Incredible Hulk. No, this one is actually funny because I actually never saw Incredible Hulk back when it first came out. I saw it for the first time, I think when I binged these movies a few months ago. That's the first time that I ever saw it. And honestly, it wasn't bad. I'd put it as a B. I don't think it's quite as good as Iron Man, but it's really not bad. It's actually pretty good. I like it. I like Edward Norton as the Hulk. I think he did a good job. I do just in terms of like aesthetic, just in terms of like the look. I actually do prefer Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, but I think Edward Norton did what he had to with the role. Although, honestly, if you don't see this movie at all, like you don't really miss anything. If we're being very honest, the only thing you miss, I guess, is the introduction of Thunderbolt Ross. But even then, it's like he kind of gets introduced elsewhere, anyways. And if you don't really know who he is, it doesn't really matter. It's not like they've really had like a moment where like they've hinted at Red Hulk or anything like that. So it's not like you really need to care about Thunderbolt Ross all that much, especially since they changed the actor to Mark Ruffalo, they haven't really like had any relationship with Thunderbolt Ross, even though he's come back into the movies. There's been no mention of their relationship, so you're not really missing out anything if you don't watch the first Incredible Hulk, but still an enjoyable watch. Iron Man 2. Um, I actually do like Iron Man 2, but I guess I would put it as a C. It's not nearly as good as the first one, and I don't think it's as good as the Hulk. It's like I like the introduction of War Machine. Whiplash is not a villain that can carry a movie, if we're gonna be very, very honest. The only thing I really like from this movie, I guess, is like the whole thing with like War Machine. And I also like how they kind of went into Tony's drinking habits and stuff. It was kind of like a very, very not subtle, but a very like in a nutshell adaptation of that one comic series. I forgot the name of it, but I'll put it on screen. But yeah, still a good movie. I like it. The first Thor, I would put also a B. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's very enjoyable. I'm gonna say, I keep saying I think these are enjoyable. I think every MCU movie is enjoyable. I think there's a redeeming factor in every single MCU movie, even the one or the ones I'm not sure yet that I'm gonna put in D. I think it or they have redeeming factors, and even if they're in D, the movies are still enjoyable. But yeah, I would say that Thor is definitely a B tier movie. It's not, again, not quite as good as Iron Man. Took them a little bit to get a movie that was as good as Iron Man, the first one, but uh, they eventually did it. They actually did it with the next one. But anyways, I think Thor is an enjoyable watch. Uh, who is the villain in that movie? I forgot. Is it Loki? I guess it would be Loki. Yeah, I don't know. Just an enjoyable watch. Uh, Captain America. Yeah. So like I said, I think Captain America to me is the first movie that I would put on the same level as the first Iron Man. I think they really, really did a good job with the first Avenger. I actually forgot how good that movie was. I liked it a lot more on rewatch, I guess, than I did the first time. I guess I didn't realize. Maybe I was not too young, but I don't remember what age I was when it came out. But I don't know. I guess I didn't appreciate it for what it was until I rewatched it, and now I actually really do appreciate it, and I would no doubt put it as an A tier. And I couldn't even. I can't even think of an argument to put it any lower than an A tier. The first Avengers, it's got to be an S, I think. Yeah, it's got to be an S. I mean, it was such a moment. It was such a, and it's not only because it was a moment. It's also like a very extremely enjoyable movie. The fights are super great. Plot is pretty believable. You would think that all these superheroes would have
ego
problems for some of them, and not all of them, but you would think that it would be hard to just. It's not because they're superheroes that they instantly get along with each other, and I do like that aspect of it. It was just really enjoyable. I try not to go too much into the fight scenes. Like I try not to like unless the fight scenes are like super incredibly choreographed. I try not to harp too much on them because it's like, yeah, obviously you're going to see an MCU movie. Yes, the fights are going to be great. That's no shit. But there's other super cool factors about the movies that I try to that I try to give more importance to. You know what I mean? Uh, Thor: The Dark World. I'm like thinking right now. I guess if I don't put this one into D, I won't put any into D, right? But it's like I didn't actually dislike it that much. I can't say I disliked Dark World that much. I think it was actually not bad. I don't know. I don't know if like I'm missing something with these movies. Like I don't know if it's me where I'm too not too nice, but I'm too like I don't even know what word I could use, but like I just don't like when I watched Thor the Dark World, I did not hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I can see that, yeah, sure, it's not as great as the movies that are above it. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's a D. To me, Dark World is on the same level as Iron Man 2. I don't know. I can't say that I hate the Dark World. I know there's like a lot of back. I think it's considered as like probably one of the worst of the MCU, right? I don't know. Like I can't say that I hated it. I guess, or you know what? Well, hold on. I'm thinking. Should I just move these two down to D? Just to kind of have like a separation between the movies. I guess I would put these two down to D, and then I would put Iron Man 3 in C because I actually did not hate Iron Man 3, but did I like Iron Man 3 more than 2? Maybe I did. I just did not care for the villain at all in Iron Man 3. And I'm not one of those people that actually like I'm not super bothered about like the whole thing with the Mandarin. Like yeah, it was kind of weird, but I'm not like here like fucking mad about it or anything. Personally, I enjoyed it more than Iron Man 2 and Dark World. Maybe you know what? Maybe I would put Dark World. No, I think I'll put Dark World here. I think Iron Man 2 might be my least favorite MCU movie, but is that really fair for me to say? I don't. You know what? No, I don't think so. You know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this right here. I think they're all on the same level, but I don't think they're that much lower than Hulk and Thor. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm just gonna leave these three here. I feel like I hold Iron Man 2 and 3 on the same level, and Thor: The Dark World on the same level as those two levels, as those two movies. I don't think any of them really deserve to be in a D tier. I think they're passable. They're passable movies. They're enjoyable for what they are. Winter Soldier definitely can go up in S. I think that's easily considered one of the best ones, and for a reason. It's super enjoyable. Such an enjoyable movie, and it had so much impact on like so many movies that came after it, and even shows like Winter Soldier, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, that are still going on right now. We're still feeling the impact of Winter Soldier. So definitely, like a very important movie in the MCU, and also of one of the best ones they had. Guardians for sure. I think I'm gonna put Guardians in S. I really, really, really enjoy the Guardians. I think it was such a nice surprise. It was such a welcome surprise, and I didn't know anything about the Guardians back then. I knew nothing of them. I had no idea who these people were. And I know this has like become a thing where like now it's like considered that Marvel can make any IP into like the biggest thing in the world. And I mean, they did it with the Guardians. They made the Guardians, which were even before that not a super popular team, even in the comics. They made them into one in like a household name in one of the biggest movie series of all time. I can't explain it. I just love Guardians. I think the first Guardians is definitely one of my favorite MCU movies. Age of Ultron, I'm gonna put here. I'm gonna put a B. I know people like to hate on Age of Ultron. Also, like people really like to hate on Phase Two a lot. Well, not every movie in Phase Two, obviously, but a lot of movies in Phase Two people like to hate on. But it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. They weren't the best movies ever. They were worse than some of the other ones that they've put out, but it wasn't even that bad. I really liked Age of Ultron. I really liked the characters that they introduced: Vision, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. Ultron, yeah, he could have been better, I guess. But if you guys like, I don't know if some of you forgot how menacing he was, but Ultron was very menacing. Ultron felt like he feels very menacing in that movie. He feels like an actual threat. And just like Winter Soldier, this movie has massive repercussions on the entire MCU, on the entirety of Phase 3. So, a very important movie, although they didn't do it quite as well as Winter Soldier, still a very enjoyable movie in my opinion. The first Ant-Man, I would put I don't know if I want to put it in A. Can I put it in A? I don't know. It's either a B or an A. What even happens in the first Ant-Man? I guess if it's forgettable like this, I can't really put it in B, right? I mean, I can't really put it in A, right? Sorry. I'm like trying to think, who's the villain? Yellow Jacket? Oh no, okay, no, fuck that. I'm putting it in B. I just, I don't know, man. Ant-Man 1 was cool. I liked it. It was. I remember when I saw it in theaters. It was like all the other MCU movies. It's enjoyable. Like I'm gonna keep saying, all these movies are very enjoyable, but to varying degrees. And I feel like Ant-Man, the first one, is just a B tier movie. Which I mean, it's fine. With the character that they were working with, I think it's a pretty good placement. Civil War, definitely an S. So iconic. The whole Spider-Man introduction scene. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna forget that. I think a lot of people are never gonna forget that. How iconic that whole scene was. And also, like, forget Spider-Man. Even if Spider-Man wasn't even in that movie, because honestly, he didn't have an impact he didn't have that much of an impact as anyone really. He had basically no impact on that movie other than the fact that like we as an audience know who Spider-Man is and we've been looking forward to him being introduced, or we were looking forward to him being introduced in the MCU at that time. So honestly, yeah, the whole Spider-Man moment was super iconic, super cool, but there's like a whole deep ass movie in the back of that with great fight choreographies and just a super in-depth story that again, just like just like the Captain America before it, has massive repercussions to this day on the MCU. So super good movie. Doctor Strange, I'm gonna put as an A. I really like. I feel like Doctor Strange is like after Guardians. I feel like we kind of had like a slowdown in like the kind of weird shit, the weird side of the MCU, right? We kind of had Ant-Man, which kind of like it delved into like quantum reality and stuff like that, quantum realm. But it wasn't like, it was like not super in depth, right? But then with Doctor Strange, they really just went all out with the visuals, with everything. They went crazy. And that movie is crazy to look at. And it, like, because of the crazy visual effects and the crazy like things that they did with like what was it called? The mirror dimension, all that shit. Like, it was just super, super crazy to see that on the big screen. And I think not only for that reason, but also because I think it's an enjoyable story. And I do like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I think he does a good job. He wasn't my first pick, but he does a good job. Yeah, I think Doctor Strange is a very good movie. Guardians 2, I'm going to put in A. I don't quite think it's as good as the first Guardians, but I think what the first Guardians did well, I think it does just as good, but I'm just not sure that I really liked, fuck was his name? Ego? Yeah, I'm not sure that I liked Ego as like a main villain. It was cool. I like that we got more into Peter's backstory and stuff. And I also really like Yondu's like father-son relationship with Peter. That was like, it was they kind of went deeper into it in this one compared to the first one. They just hinted at it in the first one, but like in the second one, they really kind of dived into it. And like, I really, really enjoyed it, but just not quite as good as the first one, in my opinion. Homecoming, I think, is definitely an A tier movie. I really like. Okay, this is a full-on disclaimer. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, so I am fucking 100% biased. I'm not even gonna hide. I'm not even gonna lie to you about it. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not. I'm 100% biased, and I think Homecoming is maybe the best Spider-Man movie they ever made, just because it's faithful to like. I feel like it's the most faithful to the source material. It's the only Spider-Man movie that we got where Spider-Man is an actual, he looks like an actual kid and he behaves like an actual kid. And I feel like the MCU, I guess rightfully so, has captured Spider-Man's like spirit, Spider-Man's like the character, the best out of all the Spider-Man movies that there's been. And I think that's just because like, they've made him like joke around more. They kind of went into it a little bit with like the Amazing Spider-Man series, where Garfield was like, he was joking around a bit, but it was never quite on the level of this Spider-Man, of Holland's Spider-Man. So, full disclaimer, I'm fucking biased as shit, but yeah, I do love Homecoming. Ragnarok is fucking amazing. Ragnarok is great. I love Thor Ragnarok so much. And I mean, how could you not? It was like look at where I put the other two Thors. I put it one in B and I put one in C. And then Ragnarok changed like the entire Thor movie formula, and they took a long ass break too before Thor 1 and 2 and then Thor 3. They took a long ass fucking break. And it wasn't for no reason, clearly, because they basically revamped the entirety of like the structure of Thor movies and just they made a great fucking movie. That's actually one of the funniest ones in the MCU in my opinion. So, yeah, definitely S tier. Black Panther also S tier, I think. It's so enjoyable, and I loved getting to see more of Wakanda, especially after it was hinted at in Civil War. I love Chadwick as Black Panther. I think he did a great job. He basically embodied the role, in my opinion, as much as Iron Man embodies. As Robert Downey Jr. embodies Iron Man, as much as I'm trying to think of somebody else who embodies. I think Chris Evans embodies what's his name, Captain America 2, and I think, like I said, I think Chadwick really embodies Black Panther. That movie was just great. It was so enjoyable, and let's not even mention Killmonger, easily one of the coolest villains in the entire MCU. Infinity War also S tier. Yeah, we're about to get a lot of S's. I'm telling you right now. Don't get mad. There's a lot of S's coming. Yeah, Infinity War, easily like one of the best MCU movies. How could you not? It's the culmination of how many years? 10 years almost? Was it 10 years or was that Endgame that was the culmination of 10 years? I don't remember. But the culmination of basically 10 years of storytelling. And it did not disappoint at all. And it's funny because Infinity War is not, it's an Avengers movie, but it's a Thanos movie, really. Really. It's more of a Thanos movie than anything. And Thanos is the best villain they ever had. And thank God for that. They were building him up for fucking years. So they just knocked it out the park with this movie. I can't even, like, I could talk about this movie for hours. Everything about it is so great. All the team ups that they did were perfect. The villain is amazing from start to finish. He feels menacing. The end of that movie, I will remember it for the rest of my life. That movie's ending is unforgettable. I remember the silence that fell after we saw like people disintegrate. It was like chilling. Like it's unforgettable. And I will love this movie till the day I die. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I would put Ant-Man and the Wasp on the same level as the first Ant-Man. Not a bad movie. I think it's actually a better movie than the first Ant-Man, but I don't know if I could put it really on the same tier as the A tier movies. But still a very enjoyable watch. And I do like the addition of Wasp. I think they're like a nice like team up. I think they complement each other pretty well. Captain Marvel, I would put also as a B tier. I'm not like a Captain Marvel hater. I actually like the movie. I think Brie Larson just did what she could with the script. Brie Larson. Captain Marvel is a pretty plain character. She really is. She's a stoic character. So it's like, you know, the actress did what she could with the script that she was given, with the character that she was given. I think it's not fair to put all the blame on Brie Larson when the character itself is stoic. But as for like the movie itself, I think it was enjoyable. I really think it was. Obviously, it has its flaws, like the other movies in B tier, but it's not nearly as bad as people say it is. Not at all. Endgame, obviously S tier along with Infinity War. I actually think, in my opinion, Infinity War is better than Endgame. That's just me. But Endgame is just, how can you hate on Endgame? It's so perfect. The only flaw that a lot of people have with this movie, obviously, it's long as fuck. It's long as shit. All right. And I will tell you right now, on second viewing, it's longer than the first time. Because this is still a 3-hour movie, let's not forget. And the first time you watch it, there's like that wow factor that like you're just rediscovering everything that's happening, right? But then when you're watching it a second time, it's like you already know what's happening and you already know what's gonna happen. And let's not forget, like 40 minutes of this movie, or like 30 minutes, I forgot, is like that final fight, right? So it's not like you really have to wait. Like it's not like the whole movie is just like building up to that fight. That fight is a big portion of the movie itself. But like on second viewing, I feel like you're kind of waiting for the fight almost, because you already know what's happening, so you're low key almost waiting for the fight. Obviously, the time travel thing also is a little wonky. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a little bit wonky, but I think it's fine. It gets the job done. I'm not sure I still fully understand it to this day. I had my own theory and I was discussing it with my friend, and we were like going back and forth and stuff. I don't remember if we came to an agreement, but yeah, the whole time travel thing is a little bit wonky, but I think it works. I think it works in the context of the movie. And I mean, other than like the small nitpicks of like things that like, yeah, it doesn't ruin the enjoyment, but it's like, oh, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, this movie is just fucking amazing from top to bottom. And then finally, Far From Home, I would put as an A. I would put just as enjoyable as Homecoming. I really, really like Mysterio. It's funny because I don't actually care for Mysterio as a villain himself. He's never like really interested me that much. Definitely not like, I feel like Spider-Man has one of the better rogue galleries out of any superhero. And Mysterio to me is definitely not like the tippity top of his rogues gallery. He's up there, but he's not at the top. And I would say that they did a fucking amazing job with Mysterio. They actually made him super interesting. And for that reason, I gotta put Far From Home in A. So, yeah, that's my list. I'm pretty content with it. I don't feel like any movies need to be in D. I feel like that's unnecessary. Every MCU movie, in my opinion, is at minimum a C tier. And most of them are like early when they were still trying to figure it out, right? So I feel like as time goes on, their movies just got better and better. And at this point currently, I don't really see a possibility, not a possibility, obviously, but I don't really see a time where they start dipping again. I feel like they kind of found their groove. They kind of know what they're trying to do with these movies. And I feel like they're just going to keep getting better and better. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that.